Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my August 2020 book haul. So I did film this once before, but I wasn't really looking at the camera the whole time. I was looking down at the books. So I decided to re-film this. So I did buy 15 books this for August. The reason I bought as many as I did, I wasn't going to buy that many. I had very few pre-orders, so it was kind of weird, but the reason I had a staycation, so I bought a lot of books when I was, you know, click happy during vacation when I had money that I didn't spend because I didn't really go anywhere. So anyway, so I bought 15. So let's talk about the books I got. So this is a book I have read before. I read this last year from the library in hardback, but this is what the paperback is. Last Witnesses, An Oral History of the Children of World War II by Slavana Ilekovic. So this is translated from the Russian by Richard Pivar and Larissa Voloronsky. And so this is the last of the books I did not own. Again, I have read all of her the 5 books that are out in translation. So I do have them now. So again, this is an oral history about men and women looking back on when they were children during World War II and their stories, which is harrowing and sad, and I just think it's important to hear those voices because that's the best thing about those books, is just hearing about other people's experiences and not knowing what other people went through. Some of it is very harrowing. Anyway, a book that I bought and read this month was the summer book by Tove Jansson. This was translated from the Swedish by Thomas Thiel. So Tove Jansson is Finnish, but she writes in Swedish, is how I understand it. So anyway, so this was a kind of a quiet book, like a, well, it's not quite, I would not say, it was, how do I want to say it? It is a quiet book. It's like small little episodes and chapters of a grandmother and her granddaughter on this island during the summer, and their interactions with other people that they meet, and with weather, and with the island itself or other islands that they go to. And again, this is so it's just a very, it was a really good read. I really enjoyed it, and it'd been on my wish list for a while, so I don't know who I saw that first from. It's, as I said, once I get to a certain point, they kind of lose who I saw about them, which is one of these books. The next book is The History of Bees by Maja Loon. So it was Women in Translation Month in August, guys. So of course I bought a lot of books that were women in translation, just in case you'll notice the theme here. So this is a book translated from the Norwegian. It took me a while to find the translator. I didn't find it until I looked at the credits, or whatever you call those things on that side. It's not listed anywhere else that I could find. It's by Diane Oakley from the Norwegian. So I think this is kind of like, there's a futuristic aspect to one of the storylines in here, and then there are 2 that are in the past. It follows, in the future timeline, a world where bees have gone extinct about several decades before, and people have to actually pollinate plants to make that happen. And then we show 2 timelines from, I think, a scientist in 2007, and then somebody in the 1800s, biologist in the 1800s, and then some research he has about some bees and beehives and things. I don't know. I remember seeing this a couple of years ago, I think, on somebody's channel, but I don't remember whose. But again, it's Norwegian, so I wanted that, but it also has to do with some interesting themes with bees. And I do have some bee books that are in my nature nonfiction, but this is a fiction, but I might learn something in that too. So then I have a few Japanese novels, which is no surprise since I seem to buy mostly Japanese translated fiction. This is The Great Passage by Shion Miura. I think that's how it's said. It's translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. So I saw this on Natalie at The Curious Reader. I think she read this for Women in Translation. I haven't looked back to see if she liked it or not, or if she got to it. I think it has to do with the man who meets a younger coworker who comes in and they have some kind of bond over language. Not quite sure. It's, you know, I buy a lot of Japanese contemporary for some reason. That's just what I do. So this is a book that I have been waiting to get for a long time. So again, I don't remember who I saw this on. This is like over a year. It's been on my TBR. I mean, on my wish list to buy it. And finally it came to a price where I wanted to pay for it. The Last Children of Tokyo by Yoko Tawada. I think it's been about a year. I don't remember. It's been on my wish list for a while. And it has to do with a grandfather who's a 100-year-old man who is one of the most elderly, of course. So I think he's remembering things that happened, and it's somehow related to what his grandson now is going through, or wanting to tell his grandson what's going on. I'm not quite sure how that all works, but anyway, I don't know. I heard about it a while ago. Oh, I didn't say. Translated from the Japanese by Margaret Misutani. So anyway, as I said, I've been wanting to pick that up, and it's very small. It's very small. And then a really teeny book is People from My Neighborhood by Hiromi Kawakami. I have several books by her that I've read. I still have several more to read. She's written quite a bit. This is again translated from the Japanese by Ted Gulson. So it's just little vignettes, and it's little short stories. I can't remember how many short stories. I don't remember if that tells you. But there's quite a bit. They're all really like 2 or 3 pages each, and I think it's just people in this neighborhood, and I think they interlock at some point, but I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Anyway, and then I bought a few classics. First one I got is Japanese Ghost Stories by Ricardo Harn. He is an Irish author from the 1800s. I think he was born 1850 to 1904. So he grew up in Ireland, and at some point he lived in Japan, and so he picked up a lot of their ghost story myths and folklore and stuff, and I think he created these stories kind of based on that. So I saw this on Steve Donoghue's channel. Weird cover, but it's a Penguin classic, and I wanted to read that. It sounded interesting too, because it was an Irish writer writing Japanese folklore, I think, or Japanese ghost stories. Anyway, we're getting close to fall, right? I want some ghost stories. I can read that. I picked up The Beatle by Richard Marsh. So I don't know anything really about this except that Emma had a couple books raved about this, and I think it was about something with Egypt and a shape-shifting terror, and supposedly it outsold Dracula at some point. I'm not quite sure how that works. But it's from what was the year? It's in here. 1897. So it could be a Victorian. It's Victorian, so I could read this for Victober. We'll see. And it's the first time I bought one of these in a long time. I used to buy these English Penguin English Library. Is that what they called? Because again, I don't buy these very often for a lot of classics because there aren't any notes. But it was the only one I found that I wanted to pick up, and I figured this one I didn't need too many notes to. I don't know. I might regret that. And then the last Victorian one is Wagner the Werewolf. So this is by George W. M. Reynolds, and I bought this from my vacation because it was kind of expensive. It's a really big book. It's over 600 pages. I mean, it's not super big print either. But this was serialized in 1847, and it has to do with the werewolf. And so I really wanted to read this. I saw this on Kate Howe's. I think it was last year she talked about this. I don't know. Again, it could be on my wish list for so long. I can't remember. Anyway, so I just bought it because I wanted to read it. And then it's really funny because now the Victober videos have come out from Katie at Books and Things, Lucy the Reader, and Kate Howe. And they talk about one of the prompts is to read one from a genre that you read a lot nowadays, read a Victorian, one. And here's my werewolf one for my paranormal that I really enjoy. So I don't know, I might not read the whole thing for Victober, but I definitely could read a couple of them. That'd be kind of interesting. Anyway, I'm excited to try that. And then I have a couple, the last 5 are just kind of, well, 6 are kind of mismatched. I have a couple romances. One is Secrets of a Summer Night by Lisa Kleypas. I meant to read this during Summer Fling and that didn't happen. Anyway, so this is the first book in the Wallflower series, and I've heard a lot of good things about this. I'm just not, I don't know what the plot. I just know that there's a woman and her friends are where the books, each book is their book. And they are considered wallflowers, and so I'm guessing they meet their love interests. And then the only book that I pre-ordered that I got, since my other pre-order got canceled because they didn't bring the book out. So we'll just talk about the book that showed up. And there's Emerald Blaze by Alona Andrews. This is book 5 in the Hidden Legacy series. So here's the series that I need to stop pre-ordering because I have not read past book 1. So I have book 2 sitting on my shelf just staring at me every month. I go, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to pick that up. And I haven't yet. So I need to do that. Anyway, so this is book 5. So this is too far in the series. I have no idea what's going on here because this is the first trilogy follows one couple kind of thing. And then the second set, this is the second book in that trilogy, follows the main character from the first set, her younger sister. So anyway, I've heard good things about these, but I haven't got that far yet, so I need to finish the first series and then move on. But I pre-ordered it and it is here. Anyway, so then a book I got at Powell's, The Winter King by C.L. Wilson. I believe I saw this on Shannon Ridler. I think she showed it. I don't know if she owns it or she showed a picture of it on Instagram or on, I don't remember. But I saw it because it was a fantasy romance and I'm like, well, that sounds like what I want to read after I finish my barbarian romance that I read earlier in August. So So I don't know a whole lot about this except that a woman she's probably, I don't know if she's a princess. Yeah, she's a princess and she has to marry this warrior to kind of, cement the kingdom or to not go to war. And of course, there's all these things that go wrong or go right. I don't know. But anyways, so it's a fantasy romance. I'm all for that. And then at my local used new bookstore that I go to once in a while, Jan's Book Paperbacks, I went in there to pre-order a book, The Bone Showered Daughter, which is coming out in a couple days. Anyway, by Andrea Stewart. Anyway, but I went in there to pre-order and I found this there, and I have some credit there, so I didn't pay too much for it. But it's The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. It's a historical fiction about the Underground Railroad, but they twist it in a way I think that it's an actual railroad that's underground. I'm not even sure anymore because I stopped listening because I knew I wanted to try to read it and I just hadn't got to it yet. And again, I think it won the National Book Award and the Pulitzer Prize. So anyway, I've heard really good things about it and I got a really good copy for pretty cheap. And then I picked up a horror that I've picked up very many recently, but for some reason I'm feeling this year I might need to kind of insert some horror novels and I just haven't done any. But this one sounded really interesting. The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. And I forgot it's a pseudonym for somebody. I should know, and it just went out of my head. I don't know, they're not going to tell me, are they? Oh, crap. I can't remember. Someone might be able to tell me. I can't remember. But I follow them on Twitter and stuff. Anyway, but this one's a horror about a woman who goes to clean out her grandmother's house. Her grandmother was a hoarder, and so there's all this stuff there she's trying to go through, trying to help out her dad by going to do this. And she finds her step-grandfather's, I think it's a diary or a journal or something, and then, like, some weird stuff starts happening. Anyway, it sounds really cool. It sounds like it's the kind of a horror that might be interesting to me. I don't know. I don't even know where I saw it, I might have just saw it on Twitter, and that's why I picked it up, but I don't remember if I saw it on some channel. It's been so long. It's been on my wish list forever on Amazon. It was way low on the list somewhere, so clearly I've been waiting to pick that up. And then the last one I got was Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silva Marina Garcia. This is about 1920s, and it has to do with Mexican folklore, or yeah, is that right? folklore, like, yeah, and it has to do with the god of the dead was locked away somewhere, and I think this woman opens up the chest, or, you know, saves him or releases him or something, and then they go on some kind of journey. I don't know, I've heard really good things about this. I haven't listened too much to know, again, all the stuff to it, because it's something I want to read. I really want to read Mexican Gothic, but I decided to go for this because that one's in hardback, and I will read this. I'll try to read this one first. So anyway, that is it. I'm not going to pick up all my books, you guys. I don't know how people balance all those books. I can't do that. Anyway, so that was 15, you know. So 2 of them I'd read, which is good. But that's quite a few added to my TBR, which is ever expanding. So anyway, have you guys read any of these books? Any of these that you think I should pick up sooner rather than later? You know, give me some hints. Or anything that you really, really loved so that I would pick it up. Or did you buy anything in August that was so great, like some Win in Translation book that I do not have? I would like to know. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.